that we are alive and alive. I thought I would quote from, you have a little calendar here, and every day there's a saying on it, or a quote from somebody. This one today is from Albert Einstein. I thought I'll begin with this. He says, I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. And I would say imagination encircles the universe. I'd heard that middle part before about imagination is more important than knowledge. I didn't hear the words that came around it. So anyway, that is the quote today for our calendar, which does 365 and then or 6, and then it repeats itself. Moving right on to our reading today, which says, reach back to love. Reach back to love. We accept the love we think we deserve. I think that's a really important message. We accept the love we think we deserve. And really, if you think about it, you can't accept any more, because if you don't think you deserve it, you're going to reject it, right? And that was Stephen Chbosky, and he is an American filmmaker, author, and more. So beginning with that pretty good quote, this next piece is, of course, from Ernest Holmes, and it's on page 26 of 10 Ideas That Make a Difference. 10 Ideas That Make a Difference. And this is what he has to say in that. Having come to the conclusion that we belong to the universe, and that God has need of us, and that love really is a wellspring of life, we must then adjust ourselves so we have a feeling of love for all people, for society as a whole. That is a really important message these days, because with the election now, you can see the polarization, and people are just stuck in their two camps. The country's split 50-50. So it's really an important time when we start to say, okay, we spoke about this a bit the other day. I can't agree with what these other people are saying, but I can respect them as human beings. And if they're doing things that I can't respect, then I'm going to love them anyway. I'll not agree with them, but I'm going to love them anyway. And this is what Ernest Holmes goes on to say. Back of the mask that we so often wear, the attitude of coldness that's often assumed, there is always a soft, tender thing in the strongest as well as the gentlest. We must reach back to this and unite with it. And if you look at leaders and even dictators throughout history, you'll find out that even the worst of them had some soft spots for something. Then Holmes goes on to say, this is our adjustment to life, capital L. This alone can make us happy. We should not feel that in doing this, we will become a mere sentimentalist, that we will become weak or inefficient. Quite the reverse. It will make us self-reliant. It will give us confidence in life, and it will help us to get along with people. It's a sure guide to the only success that is worthwhile. That was from 10 Ideas That Make a Difference. My comment on that is, we really need this in this day and age. Now, and this is what Reverend Jesse has to say. Everybody is unique. And at the same time, everybody bleeds red blood. We're united as one people, despite our differences, and in reality, we all want the same things, quibbling only over how to go about getting them. And the next part is true whether people realize it or not. People seek love, respect, a sense of purpose and meaning, and an inner peace in the place of knowing anxiety. And an inner peace in the place of knowing, K-N-A-W-I-N-G, anxiety. He goes on to say, our adjustment to life is to see the good in each other and to praise it. As Ernest Holmes says, this isn't weakness at all. By adjusting, we empower ourselves to get along with people. We learn from them and feel at home everywhere in our world. There was a piece on the television yesterday morning, and it was about how to handle, or is it this morning? One or the other anyway. And it was about how to handle these times, and if you're really anxious about the upcoming election and how to deal with it. And one thing they said was, and I think I mentioned it in yesterday's reading, is to concentrate on the people and not on what they're trying to portray. So if you concentrate on the people, you give them space, you let them express themselves. And as we said yesterday, you don't have to agree with them. And going back to Reverend Jesse, he says, where is it? Our adjustment to life is to see the good in each other and to praise it. I think there he's quoting Emma Curtis Hopkins, a famous New Thought teacher of the late 19th and early 20th century, who said, look for the good and praise it. Look for the good and praise it. And if you start looking for the good in people and in situations, then you'll really find it makes a difference. I mentioned the other day how I was having all this mind chatter, waking up at about 4 o'clock in the morning, all this mind chatter going on. And I kept repeating to myself, I'm grateful for the good in my life. And eventually, as I said, my mind just calmed down. And then, of course, I gradually drifted off back to sleep. But it was amazing how it just keep repeating that. I may have repeated it for 10 minutes, but eventually my mind just calmed down. And that's the same as saying, look for the good and praise it. Well, a couple of things. One thing I forgot to mention yesterday, that Reverend Lisa will be on at 9:30 a.m. She will be on tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. I apologize, Reverend Lisa, for forgetting to mention that yesterday. And tonight at Creative Life Spiritual Center, live, not on Zoom, not on Facebook, live, is our Halloween show. And it's going to begin with a potluck at 6 o'clock, and then the show will begin somewhere around about 7. So it will begin with a potluck. So come and enjoy it. If you don't know where it is, just Google Creative Life Spiritual Center, Spring, Texas, and it will give you the exact location. It's on Spring Stubner Road, and it's near the intersection with Gosling. It's east of the intersection with Gosling. So if you live in the whole Houston area, kind of gives you an idea where it is. It's in Spring, of course. Just look it up. Creative Life Spiritual Center, Spring, Texas. Potluck, 6 o'clock. Show, 7 o'clock. If you've never been to any of our shows, I can guarantee you will be entertained. So whether you belong to our center, you don't belong to our center, you're only just hearing about us, if you always heard about it, it doesn't matter. Even if you have to travel a little bit farther to get here, come along. It's a really great show. These people have put so much effort into putting this show together. They've been doing it for months now, and they're making it such a wonderful event that come along and see it, and also enjoy some of the food. We are going to take an almost vegetarian shepherd's pie down there, and people will be bringing lots of stuff. So, and if you can't bring anything, just drop by a store and just get something. If you're not a cook, you don't know how to cook, you don't have time to cook, just swing by a store and bring something. We'll appreciate it. The affirmation: gratefully I accept divine love and givingness and extend them to everyone I meet. Gratefully I accept divine love and givingness and extend them to everyone whom I meet. And that's about it. As I said, Revelation tomorrow morning, 9:30. Our service tomorrow, we'll still have our service tomorrow, 11 o'clock. I seriously doubt any of the cast members will be there because they've worked so hard and they'll put so much effort in tonight. But you never know. However, come along. Come in person. If you live in this general area and you often just see us on Zoom or on Facebook, or YouTube, whichever it turns out to be, come along. You'll find out that our service, when it's in person, is a much more enjoyable experience. It's good online. It's even better in person. And that's what I tell my students in my World Religions class that I teach at a local community college. It's much better in person, but not everybody can do that, and we understand that. So I'm Reverend David, Creative Life Spiritual Center. The readings are from the Science of Mind magazine, The Daily Guides, and I'll be back tomorrow around about 5 p.m. So until next time, namaste.